our ninth LinkedIn live session, again on creating awareness on the topics of sustainability, responsibility, and positive impact. My name is Diana, and we at Impact Hero actually create those sessions. And again, I'm also super happy to have the guests that will soon join us to really look at the topics of responsibility from a different angle. First, maybe just a couple of words about Impact Hero. So we have a mission and wish that we address sustainable development goals in a very simple and engaging way, addressing companies, because we believe that actually companies can be really great multipliers for positive impact. So whether in terms of regenerating the world, so for example, if you're looking for new leads to get, you can simply integrate, for example, to gift a kilogram of plastic collected in the global south or in the River Nile, or every time you sell a product, why not plant a baby coral? Or even if you're looking for great upcoming Christmas gifts, why not really change that with those that can give people jobs and can help regenerate the world? And also, I guess with my guest today, we can explore additional opportunities where you can engage in doing good. Again, I believe always that what we are all doing is a part of, is a very important mission in a way to create greater awareness, and that collectively only we can change and make this world a bit better place than it is. So about today's topic, it's very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to this exchange. I guess it's going to be a bit provocative. It's also about the very interesting, unique, and purposeful organization called Viva con Agua. There has been a 17-year journey, and how they have been navigating through a lot of transitions and changes. But what I think really stayed the same is their mission, the core mission, and that's what I would love to also discover a bit more and understand. We'll also, and actually, without further ado, I would love to not to be alone on the stage. I would love to invite the co-founder, Misha from Viva con Agua, and hey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. I have a lot of questions, but I would love to start with first calling you a social millionaire, but maybe you already, by the time I saw that title, I think it was 9 years ago, you became probably already a billionaire, but social billionaire. Misha, what influenced you to start the mission that you've been for the past decade or more? And was there one maybe act or one thing that you remember that inspired you to say, it's enough, I want to dedicate my life to something purposeful?
No, frankly speaking, it was a journey, and now I can say I'm not, how do you say, re-socializable for business world without purpose. I wouldn't work in a company which is only a money-making machine or only concerned about the next business opportunity and stuff. So I can now say I dedicate half of my life, because the other half is for my family, for purpose organizations like Viva con Agua. But also to add, because your question also why we started it, and there was no idea of starting Viva con Agua. It was just doing something like this. I'm not the biggest fan of the Nike brand because of child labor and stuff like that, but the slogan is genius, and just do it. And I think it's so true for activism. Just do it, just start things, and then on the way things can happen, because some things you can't plan. I mean, you can plan a lot of stuff, but you can't plan something like Viva con Agua, because you can't plan a movement. Like Greta Thunberg, same thing, different in a holistic world, same vision also, but it wasn't planned to start a movement like Fridays for Future. It became a movement. So, and I think this is really also true for Viva con Agua. You couldn't ever imagine something like Viva Con Agua or design it, or because now a lot of things look like we had clever marketing genius moves, but they were just doing like the cup collection thing on the festivals and all these things that came later. It was a very naive way of just doing things and trying and failing and getting good feedback and getting company by a lot of other people, because at the end, no matter if you're the founder, co-founder, or whatever, but then you are the Fresse in der Presse. I don't know the English, the face in the press or whatever, or representing it. But at the end, it's Viva Con Agua is a collective of 50,000, 60,000, I don't know, people, donors, beneficiaries, supporters, artists, musicians, creators, whatever, software engineers that give something into the community, and by that making Viva Con Agua what it is.
Cool. We'll talk about this journey because I can completely, yeah, I completely can say similar. I mean, we're very, very young at the very beginning of our journey, but still so many changes, and who knows where we're going to be heading. But I hope everyone knows actually Viva Con Agua, but maybe those that do not know it, how would you describe it, and what is actually the mission of Viva Con Agua to start with?
Yes, the vision is that we're living in a world where everybody got the free access to clean drinking water, and I can take that from the tap, which is not even 10 meters away, and it's a privilege, and it shouldn't be a privilege. It should be what it is, a human right, and every human being should have the access. At the moment, still 560 million people don't have the access to clean drinking water, meaning that they have to walk more than 1.5 kilometers to get clean drinking water. The problem in this world is that nobody dies because of not having water. Because if you don't have water, you drink from the sea, you drink from the river, you drink from the Pfütze. What's Pfütze? I always forgot that word. From the mud floor part. So you drink dirty water, and then you get diarrhea, and you don't die from diarrhea first time, you don't maybe die from third time, but one day your body is as weakened as that it kills you at the end, the diarrhea. And this is why people die on this planet, and people get sick of it. And also the because all the projects we're doing is always wash, water, sanitation, hygiene. It doesn't make sense only to give the people, or to drill a well and make the access to clean drinking water accessible. You also have to take care of the sanitation and the hygiene, because it's a circular thing. Of course, everybody knows from going on the toilet by himself. Better wash your hands as a man before and after going on the toilet. Yeah, and I think so. This is at the end. This is the vision. So making it accessible for the people and for all people. And then the very unique special thing comes in the way we do it sometimes, that it's makes it sometimes unique, because you just figures don't lie normally. And in when we started Vivo Con Agua, there were 70% of all the donations come from 60-year-old people. So a lot of the creative power, the transformational power, all the movement powers come from younger people like when we started, we were 22. Now I'm 40. Now I'm an old guy. I can't start Viva Con Agua again. I don't have the time. I have 2 kids. Take care of them, worry about them, blah blah blah. So the young people have the power to be very naive. Just do it. Exactly that. So, and this is when movement starts. So if the social projects and NGOs don't focus also on this power, they leave a lot off the table. And I think this was what came in with Viva Con Agua, that we addressed the young people, because we wanted to do something with or we just wanted to give something back. And then we started with our friends, and it became bigger, 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 but it wasn't planned.
Nice. I saw this video that 9 years ago you were also holding, trying to carry the water in Uganda. Didn't work so well on your head. Have you been many times since then there? And any kind of insights? I love those personal stories. I visited Tanzania myself. What actually did that when we were planting trees? How often do you go in the global south? And um, yeah, how easy or hard is to bring those images from there, what you have seen, to our very fancy world where we live in?
Oh, this is like one of the craziest topics in my whole work. First of all, I don't have to go no more to the global south because Viva Con Agua exists on the global south. So we changed our own structure a little bit. Normally, it functions that the organization is collecting money by or the NGOs by portraying a deficit part of the African soil, the African continent, and then the money goes to these African countries, and then the money is part of a solution, often also designed in the Western world. Why I say that now? Because I had the luck to be reflected by friends, got a lot of feedback, and had to think about my own position. And this is in a way called white saviorism. That you, as the white dude, travel to a country which is not where a lot of people are not that economically privileged, and then you come back with sayings, yeah, they don't have so much, but they are so lucky, which is often said by people coming back from the African side. And it's a very complex topic, and it's very difficult, and we can talk really long about it. And first, I wanna emphasize on that it's a historical situation and it's a structural thing why poverty exists in this world, and it doesn't need to be exist no more. And most of it is part of uh, colonialism, and then the structures are still kind of the same. And we have a very privileged life, most of us, because of economical structures that are preventing that the global south has the same privileges. And if we don't address that, we are not really honest. And for me, don't get me wrong, I love my job, I love Viva Con Agua, but NGOs are like ibuprofen. They're giving a little bit, they're reducing the pain. They are like, but it's no structural changes. Real structural changes is empowerment in these communities. Let them do their work on their own, empower them, ask them what they need, support them with what they need, start businesses there, start NGOs there where the money stays in. That's the reason why I love Villa Viva Cape Town, because in whole Cape Town there were like 3 or 4 black owned hotels, and all the other money goes via venture capital to Dubai, South Korea, whatever, US, UK, where all the big venture VCs are. So the money needs to stay in the communities, and the money needs to work in the communities, and the values that are so because this you
No, go
want
ahead.
to
No,
no,
say it.
because it's so complex that the topic that you address is really a complex topic, and I want to try at least to put it from some perspectives, because for me it's one of the most important topics, because at the end it's about narratives. And you were talking about the cherry can, what I was trying to carry, and it was way too heavy because I'm a very small man, and it was 20 kilos, and I couldn't really carry it on that way, like with hands, and they carry it without hands. And it's making fun of me in a way, but still I'm like the white privileged dude there. And why it is so important? Because imagine Africa is sometimes portrayed as one piece, but it's like Europe. It's totally different, but still on one level, it's like Europe. And in Europe, there exists Finland, where you wear a jacket like that, and Greece, where you run around in buff suits. Why I'm saying that this is only on the fashion level or what you're wearing a difference, but there's a totally other language. And Finnish is really difficult. It has this 14 or 15 blah blah blahs and stuff. And Greece is totally different. And then you have the mentality and all these things. Same is true to Africa. It's 54 countries with so many ethnies, with so many cultures, with so many languages, with only Ethiopia has so many languages. So that's why I'm addressing this, because often the media picture of the African soil is HIV, poverty, small kids with big bellies, and all these things. And what is happening now, and I try to come to an end, but what is happening now is then that these pictures are used to create money in the development works industry, to then marketing it here. But the problem is that if you focus too much on the problems, you also you put too much focus follows mind, whatever how you say, it becomes reality, and
Yeah.
it structures the reality of the African soil. And this is one of the biggest problems. So we also have to change the narratives. We communicate about the African soil, and also tell us the other stories that exist, that Google, Facebook fly down there to get the software developers, the coders from today, that the whole hip hop world is getting the Afro beats from the African continent, the whole fashion industry, so there's so much inspiration from this continent, and mostly in the media it's portrayed as very poor, blah blah blah, and this is not helping the continent at all.
Yeah, I really like that narrative to think about, like how, I mean, it's also similarly like with climate change, how can you address the climate change without, again, I love to repeat, every minute we're talking, 11 football fields of forests are disappearing. Okay, that's generic kind of problem, but it's also very specific, let's say, for Amazon, an area, and how to make that story more beautiful than it is. But of course, when it comes to, let's say, people, and I mean, there's so much richness, of course, in these areas of the Pachamama. So yeah, and how to bring those narratives in the right way. I mean, also very something for me to think about, even how we are portraying the impact that we're creating. I mean, even just for everyone who is listening to a previous talk we had also with our partner from Tanzania. The next talk we have is also from the local partner from India. And we really want to share those basically local stories and what that actually really means for the local communities. Even we have been adjusting like a bit, which are the organizations that we work with, those that we can also get, not just big one generic NGOs, but those that we can also really understand the problem of their communities, and actually people and really faces behind it. I would love to, because we are also often asked, why Impact Hero is not an NGO. We decided also on purpose to become a social business, or to become, to go into entrepreneurship. I would love to understand the transition that Viva con Agua actually made, being an NGO, to where are you today? With, I mean, you have Agua water, Goldmeyer toilet paper. You mentioned also people don't know about it. Villa Viva, which is hotels. So how this transition and why it happened, and why you went from NGO to becoming or start businesses.
Good question. First of all, we are still an NGO, and we will always be an NGO. And at the end, everything belongs to the foundation. So all the licensing deals, all the brands, they belong to the foundation. So every organization, you can take away the license to use Viva con Agua St. Pauli, or Viva con Agua in Switzerland or Austria, or the water. It's also a brand, and the brand belongs to the foundation. If the water does something which is against our values, we can take away the usage of the design. The same with gold miner. I loved how you say Goldeimer. It's the golden bucket, which is basically eco toilets for big festivals, and then it became a mass product with the toilet paper. And frankly speaking, this is also already the answer to your second question, because with an NGO, you're very limited. If you had addressed problems like 560 million people who have no clean drinking water, the climate change, poverty on the world, HIV, whatever you go, these are all huge, massive challenges for the humanity, or problems, not challenges. Like, it's a fucking problem.
Mm.
It's a disease. It's structural. It's on many levels, and NGOs tend to be very slow because of the structure that they are designed. You need 7 people to start an NGO in Germany, an association, ein gemeinnützigen Verein. You need a Vorstand, board of members. You need somebody's taking care of the finances and stuff. Then you need constitution. So it's very complicated. And then the rules are very strict, what you can, what you can't, and stuff like that. The business goes way faster. That's the reason why I still believe the problem with the business is, of course, that it got no purpose in apart from making money, and most of the time it went that absurdum, that crazy, that people who are already very rich get richer, and this doesn't make sense. So that's the reason why I love the combination of it, because then you get the purpose and you get the fast scale up and think crazy and go wild and go straight and don't too much talking but doing. And at the end, I really believe the game changer came with the cup collection, which is still NGO, which is still volunteer. There we got the opportunity to work together with 400 festivals, with 15,000 volunteers, blah, blah, blah. Got the connection to all the musicians. This was the first game changer. The second game changer was the water company, bottled water. And whenever I represent Viva Con Agua, I say, drink tap water. I mean, it's for free almost. It's 1,000 times the price of a bottle of water of Viva Con Agua. Ecological, it needs to be produced, the water bottle, it needs to be shipped from A to B, or not shipped, but transported from B to C, C to D, sometimes even. The water bottle needs to be washed and recycled. It's all CO2, it's all energy, and socially it's a human right, so it shouldn't have a price tag at all. Yeah. So, but still, we're selling 40 million bottles because there is no social alternative. Most alternatives are Nestle, Coke, whatever, which is basically doing the opposite of us, privatization of water sources. And one guy, I don't know who said it, but it's genius. There are no water companies. There are bottle companies, plastic bottle companies. We sell, fun fact, 70% is glass and 30% is plastic. Most of the companies are the opposite, or even up to 80-90% plastic. And in Germany, you can, from my perspective, with a recycled bottle, it's okay because there's a economy and recycling economy. But in Uganda, if you sell a plastic, they gonna burn it. So there is no recycling industry. So we would never start Viva Con Agua bottle company in Uganda, because there's no recycling, and people don't have the access. Doesn't make sense. But the game changer to go on the communication level is that the small association Viva Con Agua de San Pauli E.V. would have never worked together with George Clooney, Angela Merkel, Dalai Lama. You can't say his name no more because of suck my tongue. But like guys like these, big, and these relevant also, because they are out of scope and we don't have a call to action for them. I mean, the water is human right would work with George Clooney, but he's a Nestle testimonial, so it wouldn't really work at very good. What I'm trying to say is that the bottles made it possible for companies, associations, agencies, parliaments, whatever, to just buy that kind of water and not sell another water. And this made it very popular and very well known in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, because the people see our bottle. And you have to imagine 40 million bottles a year is 40 million leaflets, is 40 million media contacts, is 40 million people drinking water. And they sell it for and the profits go to clean drinking water. Okay, I got it. I like.
I mean, how can all of this awareness that it's also a lot on the consumer side. Are you doing and touching businesses, and how are you engaging businesses in your mission?
You mean how we cooperate with businesses?
Yeah, I'm also wondering, like, how can someone, I mean, we're on LinkedIn, there are a lot of people from business side. How can we inspire them to, because, to bring more of this focus, and not as a consumer reading something on the bottle, but how to bring those topic as such, with such passion as you do and we do, into their business world.
Donate all your money, first thing, always. Easiest thing for NGOs. It doesn't need to be all, but €1 is a good start. And no, I mean, basically rethink, restructure, and recreate a new economy. And think about the narratives, why you think it's making you a better life if you work so much for just material stuff, and make your, for me, always this joke with the CEO who's coming out of his Porsche on the parking lot, and then he meeting an employee of him, and he says, "Hey, when you work really hard, next year I can buy another one." And for me, this joke always is so true. Why work your ass off for others? It's also where you work is a vote, and it's one of the biggest votes you're doing. I mean, for me, there are two major decisions you have to do in life concerning your time: is who you fall in love with. You can't decide, but then who you marry, maybe, or who you want to stay. So, because this is one of the most important decisions, because you will spend a lot of time with this person and maybe get kids and stuff. And the second is who you work for and what you do with your working time. And this is even on a time level, I think, more time consuming, because 40 hours, think about it, who spends really 40 hours with his partners? So I think this is one of the biggest decisions in life. And it's also a vote, because if you don't work for the oil company, then who's doing the jobs? So I really think this is most people not really aware of it. And I think the structures of how we think in life and about work and about success and all these narratives, they are very, very old. And most of them are designed before no, all of them are designed before the internet, before the iPhone. And we're still living in the complexity. But for me, it's like, if you address the climate crisis with old narratives and old ways, it's like, in a way, you go to a shooting where the one guy is coming with the AK-47 and you have a small knife. And this is how we address a lot of problems, because if we are honest with ourselves, we have to rethink mobility completely, our health system completely, the way we educate you don't need all these you need physics and you need chemistry, but you need empathy, and you need how to find very fast things in the internet, how you use ChatGPT and stuff like that. You don't need the way I go to university. Come on, ChatGPT, bam. You don't. So I think we are not prepared for really tackling the problems, because we're still hidden in old ways of thinking, Denkmuster, and structures. And yeah, what was your question? Sorry.
No, it's just more like in terms of, as the audience that we're having. So businesses, how can people that are behind screens and listening to it also, but I think you, to a certain extent, you answer to it. It's, of course, if you're not working in sustainable business,
Get sustainable. It's also, I think, it's also on an economical level. It's also coming with all these rules and legislations, so you have to do it. It's a question of time that it's getting harder and harder and harder. So if you're not on a sustainable side already, it's not only a question about sustainability. I think this has changed a lot in the last 2-3 years. Before, it was just sustainable and good mensch or something like that, or ecological hippie or whatever, but now it's on a different level, because if you see the sustainability will change industries completely from the
Mm,
bottom to and flip it upside down. And so I really believe that you have to also do it on an economical level. And
mm,
also the people won't. There was this one, I always tell the story in the last weeks, because I think there was never a video that showed the absurdity of our lives so much. There was this one TikTok guy who fly from London to Ibiza or another island there in the Mediterranean Sea, and drank a sixer of beer on the island, and it was cheaper, including the flight, than drinking it in London. It says a lot about London, but it says more about
yeah, crazy.
the industry of mobility and flying. And I
Mm,
think in the future it will not be possible that the flights are that cheap. And only as an example, that the real ecological calculation is not part of the flight.
mm,
The flight needs can't be 10 euros, it must be 110 or whatever the real price tag is. But it will, the people won't accept it no more. I
mm,
hope.
mm. Michael, when you talk about also, if going back to Viva Con Agua's mission and so on, and when we had like a check-in, I don't know, a couple of months ago to prepare for this call, and you said basically you can't paint, I mean, you can paint the foundations, but you can't really change them of your organizations. And I wonder, like, what stayed the same throughout, throughout this whole movement, and what do you think changed as you are now getting older and but also in general as the organization was maturing? So what stayed the same and what changed?
Oh, good question. I never thought about or never heard that. I think what definitely didn't change is the core DNA of Viva Con Agua. Like trying to do things that make joy to ourselves, that inspire the world, make it a better place. The vision never changed. It's all about clean drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene, and it will ever be there. And if one day all human souls have clean drinking water, sanitation, hygiene, we
Yeah.
definitely throw a big party, and then we come up with another vision, because the network community would be too good to throw away. Because in former times we always said that we trying to get rid of ourselves, but
Mm,
we overcome that kind of mindset, because I think it would be a waste of time to throw Vivo Konakwa away. But still, I doubt that it will be soon.
mm,
Although it's possible. I mean, you only take the money of Elon Musk losing by
correct.
buying Twitter, make it a right wing platform, and then like I think it's 36 billions he lost. Come on, that money would have a significant change into the water crisis worldwide. If not, even every human being would have the access to clean drinking water. And so, what changed? I mean, when we started Vivo Con Agua, we had no idea about it at all. We have a small idea about Vivo Con Agua now. Still, it's every day new and it's changing, but
Mm,
we know better what we shouldn't do, what we know. We became a grown up. Still, every organization is different, because Viva Con Agua, we started 17 years ago. Villa Viva, we had the idea 7 years ago and then designed it and blah, blah, blah. Goldeimer was founded in 2013. So they are on different stages in their development. So it's very interesting, because not every one of the brands or the organization or entities, whatever you say, is the same. So everyone
mm.
has different. One got acne because he's in puberty. What's puberty in English? You know, when
Yeah,
kids
puberty. Yeah. Mm,
puberty. Thank you. And the other one got really first midlife crisis or whatever. So you got different stages, which is very interesting. And I think also the professionalism of how we do it change, because when we started it was all volunteer, just do it. I didn't even have an email address. I got now a colleague who's really closely working on everything I do. As I call her Betreuerin, but she's like taking care of all projects I'm doing or I'm involved with and stuff like that. So this really changed, and also the quality of the network changed, and the quantity too. But you really, I mean, the quality is in a way insane, like with
Mm,
who you already work together, and also like imagine when we started Vivo con Agua, I had to tell everyone, no, not Bon Aqua, no, 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 exactly the opposite. So you had to. Now I'm
mm,
invited. I
mm,
was never invited when we started Viva Con Agua. I was never invited.
mm,
Nobody knew me, nothing. So this of course changed, and now you get invited and get a lot of prizes, awards, blah blah blah, stages, platforms, everything.
mm.
And this complete game changer.
And when it comes to with all of those, like say, great things, I guess you did have probably some of the pitfalls and some challenges or criticisms. I guess even to such a purposeful thing that you're doing. Was there something that comes to your mind? I mean, I remember also there was something about Viva, I guess, project too. Um, how did you react to it? How do you navigate that? Or which was the also which kind of criticisms hurt you?
Difficult question. I think in a way, Viva Con Agua is a baby for me, and it's a 17-year-old baby, and I love it to the moon. And I have to thank Viva Con Agua for my life, because otherwise I would be a teacher in Heidelberg. And teacher is a beautiful job, and Heidelberg is a beautiful city. But I love my life the way it is now, and I owe that to Viva Con Agua and to myself. So, and that means everything. And people who have kids know that if somebody criticizing your kid, it's not nice to hear, because you love it so much, and then you get the lion mother or the lion father, and so for me it's never easy to listen to criticism of Viva Con Agua. Never. Still, I learned to shut the fuck up, frankly speaking.
Mm,
Really, like, okay, just shut up, listen what he want to say, you say thank you, reflect later. And this I really learned. Still, it not always working, but this I really learned, and I think this is very, very, very important, because uh, a lot of times feedback culture is claimed, but it's not really existing. And
mm,
listening is the most essential part of feedback, with talking the other one.
mm,
Then, but in a critic word, and all the time, every criticism, there was something. How do you say? Yeah, Clouseau is singing, an allem, was man sagt, ist auch was dran. There is a small part of it where it hits a nail, or it hits something, where there's a point to it, where there's something. Yes, I get your point. I see why you're criticizing that. So there are a lot of things you can criticize about Vivo Konako. I criticize the way we communicating with the white saviorism, or we used to communicate. I criticized our selling the bottled water. I criticized the Villa Viva for not being sustainable in constructing. You can't be constructing. So I criticize myself, so that the
mm,
audience, is also invited to criticize us, and also sees, hey, okay, at least they know where when they do shit, because most of the things on the ecological, when we started Vivo Con Agua, we always said we want to do the least possible shit to the world. But if you produce a product, you do shit, and this needs to be reflected, and it needs to be also addressed honestly, because most of them, they put some marketing or sustainability or buzzwords on it. But the most sustainable thing would be you don't buy the product. And I think this is also something where we need to be more honest and radical to ourselves, and think, hey, do we really need the new product? And this is really from our side also. There's this beautiful new idea, to create an eau de toilette for Goldeimer. which is of course already, yeah. And then what it smells like. There's so many beautiful stuff. But the first question you have to ask yourself: do we really need a new eau de toilette? Don't there are exist no more enough? And then I tell straight away, I say no. There is not enough social eau de toilettes that have raise awareness, put a smile on your face, and raise funds for sanitation projects. Definitely not.
Mm. Yeah, and how can we help the existing companies as well to transition and to make more sustainable toilet perfumes? Um, but yeah, they can, of course. I think they can also follow the similar models in a way and really bring positive impact into any kind of stakeholder engagement you're having. So and every product you're selling, aside of really reducing and substantially, basically, if possible, changing the core of it. So um, okay, I mean, this is usually taken as a kind of break lunch, even though we love to inspire for mindfulness and eating in peace. But hopefully, some people were eating lunch while listening to this. So we have 4 minutes left. What kind of advice would you give from all of those learnings for anyone and other actually mission-driven driven initiatives on this planet? And yeah, what is one or three advices you have?
One advice: it's a marathon. It's no sprint. It's everyday sprints. It's all the time sprints. But at the end, it's a marathon. So take care about your health. Take care about your friendships. If you lose them, you lose a lot. Everybody knows it's the base of everything we do. Don't take yourself too seriously. I worked as an ambulance driver. My father was a pathologist, and I saw a lot of people on the way to die, and there was nobody. Oh, I should have done that deal. I should have made 1 million more or whatever. They just said I should have spent more time with my family. Um, Try to create the system you do the most diverse and diverse on all levels you can do. Integrate different perspectives. And this is also when you start a project or a product, don't think only about the financial calculation. Think about the ecological calculation. Think about the cultural calculation. Think about the communicational. Think about all different levels and try to come up with something that really is needed by the world, and not just the next thing you throw away when it doesn't function no more and buy another one. And don't be an asshole. Don't produce stuff like that is like my iPhone. It's produced after 2 years, it breaks down. It doesn't work no more. It's produced like that. This needs to be actually forbidden. I mean, like we have to come up with new ways
Mm,
of restricting being an asshole. Like, and think there shouldn't be anything you start in the 21st century that doesn't have a social, ecological, supportive empowerment um, um, value to the world. And don't over glorify founding, because most of the time, especially on LinkedIn, people, hey, like founding. And I heard this fun story about a somebody who's a future founder and a future CEO. What the fuck? What's your mission? What's your vision? No, I just want to start something. Don't start something just for starting something,
mm,
because most people who started something, they know it's one of the most beautiful things and most of the challenging, and it's sometimes a real asshole being a founder, because you never sleep without worrying. You always have issues. People don't tell you everything no more because you're the founder of something. There's in sometimes dependency system in
mm,
most organizations, and so don't glorify it. Also tell the other thing. This is also the same with kids and organizations are for me very very similar and work the same. And most people always say the good sides of kids. Yes, they're beautiful. It's the best thing in my life, honestly. And it's also the most challenging, and it changed my life completely. I can't travel 250 days a year no more. I have to stay 200, no, I have to stay almost 340 days at home best, because otherwise my wife has all the trouble, and this is not working in a 50-50 relationship.
Mm.
So be more honest, like really to yourself and to your employees and to your customers and to the world, because I think this, otherwise we lose so much. And we need radical shifts, and for radical shifts you need to be um very transparent and very honest. And last but not least, if you want to do something innovative and create something which is not existing, use people who have no idea about it. So if you want to create a new car, ask people like me who have no idea about the car industry. Because my first question is, do we really need a new car? No. Can we invent something that replaces all cars? Yes. Okay, let's do that. But this
Mm.
is what I mean with radical shifts. And this will not be done by people who are too dependent, or their lifestyle is too comfortable for these changes. And that's the reason why you need young people for these, and empower and give the power over to the Gen Z with some advisory systems of the older people.
Mm. Thank you. Any way that individuals or organizations can support your mission?
Yes, of course, they can donate money. They can donate their time, their skills, their ideas, their creativity. They can just buy our toilet paper, our water, or sleep in our hotel from the 16th of November in Hamburg, Villa Viva. They can listen to the Viva Alpagua music with our kids' music. They can buy art from beautiful artists on the Milan Gallery Vivo Con Agua Arts website. And they can give us feedback. They can become part of the community in any way. Or they can just start anything else, because I really believe in glorification of starting something social.
Mm. Very nice.
This was a joke of myself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's glorifying glorification. So usually we end these conversations with one word. Or actually, yeah. First of all, because I will just then stop it. But thank you so much for all these like insights.
More than welcome.
I do hope that yeah, whoever was listening, whether parents of kids or people in business world, yeah, will bring a bit of this inspiration and the need for what maybe younger generations are hoping for and already demanding, that we do all collectively create a world that can be more beautiful. One word that I love to ask the question. One word that the world needs right now.
Love and empathy and peace, please, peace, please, peace. Because the sorry for not doing your thing, but this is my my biggest joy in life, is that I'm now a free radical and I can almost do whatever I want. And there's one thing, I think the brutality of the world was always fucked up. I studied history, and in Africa, Asia, and Europe, and people murdered on most brutal ways all the time. But the way it's now portrayed on social media is a game changer, and how it is used as a weapon. And we are not prepared for that.
Mm.
Where there, nobody prepared us for the iPhone at all. And every one of us can go on screen time. Yesterday, I checked by incident, and it was 6 hours, 6 hours of screen time. So, and some of my friends got 12 hours because they're working in this industry. If you're a content creator or a person of the public figure or whatever. So we are not prepared of that at all, of the iPhone and what it makes to our life and to our kids. And we are I'm the last generation who grow up without an iPhone. So it's a complete game changer. And also what is doing on the level of war which is happening in Gaza at the moment is incredible. And we are not we need therapy, basically. The whole world needs therapy at the moment, and love and empathy.
Thank you very much. I also call, yeah, for peace in the world. However, that, yeah, for still so many people doesn't fit into this context, but I guess we are all super influenced, consciously, subconsciously, or even just financially. But it's horrendous. And yeah, thank you for finishing with love, and yeah, hopefully bringing more love to business and the world as such. Miha, thank you so much. Have a wonderful end of the year, and yeah, keep on inspiring and being such a strong activist, a true inspiration.
I'm not capable of doing something else.
Yes, thank you.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye. Take care.